The morning started with silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that feels like something's watching you from the corner of the room. "Morning," I said, walking into the kitchen. Amira stood by the counter, hair tied up, wearing the blazer I bought her for her promotion. She didn't look up from her phone. "Morning," she replied, voice flat. I leaned in to kiss her cheek, like I had every morning for 7 years. But as I did, she stepped back slightly, her expression tightening. "Not now," she muttered. I froze mid-motion. "What?" She sighed, putting her phone down. "I'm just not in the mood for performative affection before work, Daniel. I don't need male validation every morning to function." Hit me like a slap. I stood there, blinking, my hand still half raised, feeling like an intruder in my own marriage. "Amira, it's not about validation," I said softly. It's just how we say goodbye." She grabbed her bag. "Well, maybe we've outgrown that kind of thing." And she walked out, leaving the faint scent of her perfume, and a silence that wouldn't leave me alone all day. First, I tried to rationalize it. She was tired, maybe stressed. She'd been promoted to regional head of marketing 2 months ago, working long hours with her new team, especially with him, Ethan Shaw. Tall, charismatic, funny in that effortless way that makes people listen. She talked about him a lot at first, how refreshing he was, how progressive his ideas were. Then she stopped mentioning him altogether. That was the first red flag I ignored. A week later, her firm hosted a workplace empowerment event, open to family members. I decided to surprise her by showing up after my shift. When I arrived, the place was buzzing. Neon lights, champagne glasses, laughter echoing across the open-floor office. I scanned the crowd until I saw her near the stage, surrounded by her colleagues. Ethan stood beside her, laughing at something she said, his hand brushing her back briefly. I told myself it was nothing. But then Amira noticed me. Her smile faltered for half a second before she forced it back. "Daniel," she said brightly. "You came." "I said I would," I replied, trying to ignore the knot in my chest. Ethan turned. "So this is the famous husband," he said, offering a firm handshake. "We've heard a lot about you. Good things, I hope." He chuckled. "Mostly." Everyone laughed. Everyone but me. Later that night, after a few drinks and speeches, someone suggested a team bonding photo. Amira stood at the center, radiant under the lights, while Ethan wrapped an arm casually around her waist for the picture. My jaw clenched. When the camera flashed, she didn't move away. Afterward, I walked up to her, trying to keep my voice even. "You looked close." She sighed, clearly annoyed. "Oh, not this again." "Again? You're reading too much into everything, Daniel. Ethan's a friend. You're being paranoid." She cut me off. "You don't get it. Not everything is about you and your insecurities. I'm part of something bigger here, something empowering. Maybe you should try not to drag me back into old-fashioned possessiveness." Her words burned. I didn't argue. I just left. Over the next few weeks, she grew colder. She started sleeping in the guest room to get more rest. Her laughter, when it came, was always on the phone, never with me. The only time she touched me was when she brushed past me, like a stranger in a hallway. Then one night I saw it. Her phone lit up while she showered, Ethan's name flashing on the screen. "Ethan. Still thinking about last night. You were incredible." My stomach turned to ice. I opened the message thread, hands trembling. The history stretched back weeks. Late-night texts, photos, and inside jokes I didn't understand. One message from Amira made me drop the phone. "Amira. He'll never know. He still thinks I'm just busy with work." For 10 minutes I couldn't breathe. I felt anger, grief, disbelief, all tangled together. But mostly humiliation. When she came out of the shower, towel around her, I was sitting on the edge of the bed, her phone in my hand. She froze. "Amira," I said quietly. "How long?" She stared at me, face blank. Then she reached for her phone. "Give it back. Answer me." "Daniel, this is exactly why I didn't want to tell you. You wouldn't understand." My chest tightened. Understand what? That you're sleeping with your coworker. Her voice rose. It's not just that. Ethan respects me. He doesn't see me as someone who needs protection or validation or ownership. Ownership, I repeated, my voice cracking. You're my wife. I'm my own person, Daniel. She grabbed her phone and turned away. That night, she slept at her sister's. Days passed in numbness. I didn't tell anyone. Didn't eat much. Just existed. Then, a week later, I got an email from her company. A link to a live stream event. Women in Leadership, Breaking the Old Dynamics. Something in me clicked. Opened the link. There she was, on stage again, glowing under the spotlight. Ethan stood beside her, beaming proudly. She spoke passionately about redefining partnerships and liberation from outdated roles. Her colleagues cheered at every line. Then someone from the audience shouted, "What about your husband?" She laughed softly, looking down. "He's learning to let go." Laughter rippled through the crowd. My throat tightened. I watched the people cheer her, clap for her bravery, unaware that behind her empowerment speech was betrayal dressed as virtue. I closed my laptop, my reflection staring back at me in the dark screen. But fate, I guess, has its own timing. A month later, Ethan's wife, yes, wife, found out. She posted screenshots online, tagging Amira's company and every corporate feminist account she could find. By morning, the story was everywhere. Empowerment speaker and boss involved in office affair with married subordinate. Amira's office turned into chaos. When I arrived, summoned by HR for clarification, she sat there, pale, trembling, mascara streaked. Ethan was nowhere to be seen. As she looked up at me, our eyes met. Hers filled with tears, mine with exhaustion. "Daniel, please." But before she could finish, security entered the room. They escorted her out as her co-workers whispered. For the first time in weeks, I felt nothing. No anger, no pity. Just closure. Outside, cameras flashed, voices shouted, and Amira's cheering office watched her walk away in disgrace. That evening, I stood by the same kitchen counter where everything began. I whispered into the silence. "You didn't need my validation. But I didn't need your betrayal." And for the first time, the silence felt peaceful.